Woohoo! I'm live. This is Math 40 Elementary Algebra, and we are in a section, a chapter of the book on systems of equations. And this section is not actually about puppies and cotton candy. That was a total trick. It's actually about word problems, which is everyone's favorite. I know I should have just said word problems, but I was afraid that if I said word problems, everyone would run away in horror. So we're going to do a couple of examples in the lecture. And then there are a ton of problems in the homework. And so what I'm assuming is that we'll just do a couple of problems here to get warmed up, and then you'll start doing the homework. And I'm just going to remind you, don't spend longer than half an hour on any problem. If it starts to really frustrate you, put it down. Go outside if you can. Go open a window. Look out a window if you can. Pet an animal. Play a video game. Rest your eyes a bit. Cook. Clean if that makes you happy. Think about butterflies. Come up with little things to do. Do some sit-ups. Whatever it is that relaxes you, and put the math down for a while. If it's really giving you, if you're feeling really frustrated, then email me, text me. Let's talk about it on Pronto. Let's talk about it on Zoom. We can figure this out together. Okay. So having said that, again, a couple problems for warm-ups right before the problems in the homework. This first problem is about a famous painting called The Blue Boy. You may have heard of it or seen it. In 1770, Thomas Gainsborough painted The Blue Boy. The sum of the length and width of the painting is 118 inches, and that's a number sentence, so I'm going to yellow that out. The sum, length, and width of the painting is 118 inches. Okay. The difference of the length and width is 22 inches. Again, I've got another sentence with some more numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that in blue. Find the length and the width. Okay. So a couple things to remind you of. The word sum means what happens when you add. The word difference means what happens when you subtract. And so the yellow sentence is the sum of the length and the width of the painting is 118 inches. So I'm going to say length plus width equals 118. So the sum, so we're adding them, of the length and width, the length plus the width of the painting is the equals 118. Okay, so that's the yellow sentence. And the blue sentence, this is like a direct translation problem. The difference of the length and width, so length minus width. And generally the rule is you write them in the order they're written. So length and width, difference means length minus width, is 22 inches. Now the good news is these are both in inches. In order for us to solve a system of equations, we have to describe them using the same values. So like if one were in inches and one were in feet, we'd have to translate so that everything is talking with using the same language, the same measurements. Okay, so it looks to me like we've got a couple of equations right there. They're in meta math. They're not quite in math yet. I need some variables. I'm going to say, remember we say let, that's what mathematicians say. It means I'm about to tell you something that hasn't been said already. I'm going to just say, let's say that L is the length of the painting. And I'm going to have W be the width of the painting. And again, I'm using ditto marks so I don't have to write the whole thing out. So if I make this translation to L and W, then I get L plus W equals 118. L minus W equals 22. And in fact, hopefully I can convince you that since these are each descriptions of the, sorry, I'm whistling now, descriptions of the same painting, I can create a system of equations and solve them together. Oh my gosh, this is probably the platonic ideal of braces. I don't think I've ever drawn a brace quite this nice before. Wow. And you guys are witnessing it. This is a moment. This is going in the history books. Okay, so I've got a system of equations. You're going to always have choices. So your choice is to use substitution if you really, really want to. But I'd like to encourage you to consider elimination, because if I have L plus W equals 118 and I have L minus W equals 22, the equals are lined up, the W's are lined up, the L's are lined up, and if I add, I get 2L. The W's completely cancel out, and over on the other side, I get 140. Woohoo. Or in other words, L equals 70. And some people ask me, why did you suddenly draw your L's in that squiggly way? And the answer is because if we draw the L like a single line that goes up and down, it looks like a 1. So my length is 70, and in fact, that's in inches. Okay, so I need to find W. So let's go back. What does W equal? I'm going to use the L plus W equals 118 equation. We've just found out the length is 70 inches. So I plug that in, subtract 70. W is 48 inches. So, and it says find the length and width. So length equals 70 inches. And the width equals 48 inches. And let's look at our two, these are our two equations right here. If we've got 70 and 48, 70 plus 48 is 118. What is 70 minus 48? 70 minus 48, it's 22. So those values actually work in both. So we've got it. Woohoo. And then one last reminder, when we're working with word problems, the answer is not just the numbers. And for some people, you have to write a whole sentence. You don't have to write a sentence for me because, again, I'm not going to teach English. I'm just going to try to teach math. But you do need to include the value, the number, and the units. So the inches is what's important. And that's it. Not too bad. I will remind you that this is my job, and hopefully that went pretty smoothly. So again, word problems are not easy. Some people have an easier time than others. Some people go through them fairly smoothly. Most people struggle a lot. So remember that half an hour and then put it down and ask for help. Okay? Woohoo! Happy word probleming.